Hello, everybody. Hi, how are you? I hope that you are having an amazing day. And I am here back again. And I have an idea that is really interesting that I want to talk about in this video. And I want to talk about something that I have been going through. And for like a month now, a month and a half. Maybe it's been 2 months and a half. Like, I don't remember. I haven't been counting. But it's such a beautiful and life-changing experience that I have been going through, and so that's why I want to come in here and really talk about it. So, what I went through was a Kundalini awakening, and the funny part is that I have been one of those people that was a little bit interested in, okay, like I see people talk about they're going through a Kundalini awakening and they're experiencing it, and so I wonder like what it's like and will I ever experience it, And so really had that question in my mind. And I was a little bit interested in like, oh, it sounds interesting and it looks like it's really helpful when someone goes through it. And it definitely looks like it's such a deep experience that someone can go through. And I remember like really wanting to be a part of that. And but really never pursuing it because it also looks scary. It's funny, but it does look really scary when people go through like the movements and stuff, the shaking that can happen when you go through a Kundalini awakening. And personally, going through this, it had started, like I said, a few, yeah. So when it started, I was feeling really interesting because um, I was experiencing like at first I experienced this boost of confidence in my creativity, and so I started kind of doing a lot of like dancing and singing and painting. And honestly, I have been doing paintings and singing and all the art stuff in my life, but I haven't felt such like a connection with being able to actually kind of let my creativity flow in such a deep way like I did when I actually started experiencing a Kundalini awakening. And it happened like I felt this intense urge to kind of dance sometimes on music, like intensely and almost like a ritual kind of thing. And then I started feeling like painting and doing all the beautiful creative um, activities. And then I started singing more. And it was just kind of like really connecting to my creativity. And it felt really beautiful at first. It felt so calming and like interesting at first. And then at some point, I actually, one day, I started kind of, one day I experienced this kind of block in my hand because I was kind of doing healing on my body, and then I had like something stuck right here, and it felt like it needed to come out. So when I started feeling into it, it felt like deep anger that was like stuck in my hand, and I wanted to release it. So I intuitively felt like moving my hand in like certain movements. And so, for example, like this, and when I was moving it like this, I felt like that pain was kind of releasing and almost like opening up, like the movements were opening up my my hand, and like really the blockages were releasing, and I was able to feel the emotions, the intense emotions, the anger and all the emotions. I was able to feel them, and then from my hand, and I felt like they were getting purged, and it felt really beautiful and also scary because I was able to move my hand in these like movements, and they felt like they were intuitive and like I knew what I was doing, but I kind of didn't. So it felt really funny, and then it kind of only happened like once or twice. And I think I showed my husband, and I was like, oh my god, look at this, I'm like doing these weird movements. And I think, I don't know if he thought anything of it. It was just like, oh my god, look at you, it's funny. And then right after that, like in a after a few days, I think I kind of this one day I kind of couldn't sleep at night, and so I was just kind of laid there awake, and I felt near my yoni, like, my thighs and stuff. I felt like right in that place, there were these like electric feelings, like almost like electricity from there, and it felt weird. It felt like something was rising up from there, and I had no idea what it was at first. I thought because I was gonna get my period, I think I was kind of waiting for it, so I thought maybe that's what's happening. Maybe I'm just kind of getting ready to get my period. But then I actually realized after a little bit of time that it was something else, because my heart told me that there was something else happening. And especially because I had googled Kundalini awakening before, and I knew what it's like. I knew that it would feel like these electric shocks. People would report that that's what it feels like in the body for them, and so I really felt like that. And at some point, I felt like, oh my God, like I'm actually gonna have a Kundalini awakening. Like I knew that it was happening, it was gonna happen. And that's when I started feeling really uncomfortable, and almost like there is an energy rising up from my spine that's like actually kind of pushing away some energies in my body that are, blockages. Like, for example, feelings of, like pain or whatever like that I have in my body, that's actually, being pushed through something. And that's what it felt like at first. And then I started feeling like moving my body in like weird movements, including like yoga poses. Like I would sit like this and then sit on my back and have my legs in like like it's like a yoga kind of position. I don't know how to describe it, but it looks like a yoga position. And I felt weird, but I kind of just did that intuitively. I didn't really know what I was doing. And then I kind of kept doing those movements, and at some point I started having movements in my body that happen involuntarily. Like I'm not really doing them, they just happen. Like I'm sleeping and then I just move like this and I move like that and I move like this, and it's just like it's shaking, shaking, shaking. Like my body is shaking, and they kept getting more and more aggressive. And I knew I was going through a Kundalini awakening at that point. I didn't freak out as much, but I freaked out because of the movements not being something that I'm doing, but something that my body's doing. And so at that point, like what happens is that when we go through a Kundalini awakening, that Kundalini that we have, which is the place of it is in our sacral chakra, when that awakens, it basically releases in the body, and then any blockages, because it's such a um, an energetic type of connected really high energy that comes from the Kundalini. It's so life giving, it's life force. So that life force energy is kind of updating our body and updating our system. And so it basically is throwing everything out. It's shaking everything out of the body. That's why the body shakes. It's because it's actually so intuitive, and it's so, um, it knows what it's doing. It's so connected to everything. And so our body actually knows what it's doing in that moment. And uh, as the movements kept happening, I started feeling a little bit freaked out. And because when they were happening, I could feel that they were releasing so much trauma from my body. Like they were, it's like, it's so quick. It's such an intense and also rapid, kind of fast, like experience where like you just release something that's so huge, that's so amazing so quickly. I mean, that's so like stuck in the body, that's so blocking your energy, and you release it so quickly. And so in the past, I did hours of meditations to sit with a certain amount of pain in my body or amount of anything, just like any energy that I want to get released. And sometimes it had taken hours. But whatever it is that I had experienced in the past, in this time, it taken like a minute or two to get some of the most intense and most, you know, not so good emotions and traumas from my body so quickly. And I really loved that. And so, like, it just kept doing that, and my body just kept kind of um, it was kind of hard for me because I really had a hard time that night because I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep. And I was kind of fine because I knew I was going through this process because I could feel how powerful it was. is because of how many things I had actually released that night, is why I kept doing it. And so, like, it's why I didn't freak out. But after that, it just kept happening every night, where like every night I would sleep, I would experience my body moving so much and sometimes shaking very violently. And my husband saw that, like, it's so crazy. And so like he really supported me though through it, because he really knows that it's a really good process. So it kept happening, and like it just, I kept feeling like I'm really going to release these like emotions and stuff, and I was releasing them. And I think like I had a really hard time certain nights. I even like cried and like really um was like, oh, this is really terrifying and hard, because sometimes it would happen all night, and then in the morning I'm not getting any rest. And then like it would happen again where I need to rest, I'm really tired, and I end up sleeping during the day. It was like really hard for me. But with time I actually started kind of like um it started becoming less and less intense, and also like because I'm releasing so much, and so it's not, we don't, I don't need to like have as many involunteer um, movements. But now I can kind of do it consciously, where if I'm meditating and I want to release something, I can just kind of um, help the energy, the kundalini, go into that place and then release it, and I can shake. But I do this like, voluntarily this time, like I want to. I'm doing this. I'm letting the energy. I'm letting the Kundalini move wherever it wants to go. And then, yeah. So this is what it became, and it's really beautiful. I love this process because it really helps me to release in such a deep way. I've never released trauma and like emotions this deeply. It also helps me to cry really deeply about. I mean, like really to release certain emotions. It's so amazing. I really love it. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving this process. And so, yeah, this is just a little bit of what I'm going through. And if you are going through a Kundalini awakening, you can absolutely um, talk about it a little bit in the comments and let me know if you want to have a conversation about it, or if you have any questions about how to navigate it, because it can be really hard and it can be such a big deal, because it is a big deal. It's such a life changing experience that will really make your life completely kind of changed and put you in such a new kind of frequency, a new energy. And it really helped me so much, because what happened was that I healed so deeply, and also started having so many memories about my past lives, and like so many things. I started having visions. I'm clairvoyant, and my gift really opened up. I started being able to have visions. It's so amazing. And then I started being able to have, like, it's just like my intuitive gifts really opened up, and my creative gifts really opened up. And so I really suggest that if you're going through this, to not be afraid, because it's really such a beautiful process. And this is like the Kundalini awakening. When we go through it, it really sets us up for success in our path and in our purpose. And it's what it's doing is it's clearing out our purpose and really showing us the gifts that we have, the actual inner kind of powers that we've been holding on to, that we have for years, and that we really need to open up to them and actually use them in our life. And so that's what I'm doing, and that's the process that I'm in right now. And it's so beautiful. It's so um life changing, and also like rewarding, because um we heal so deeply, and then we really connect with our actual inner essence and our actual energy from the inside, and who we really think about ourselves. We really connect to that pure version of ourselves. And so it's such an amazing process. And I can make more videos about this if it's something that you're interested in and you really want to know more about what happens when we go through it. It kind of happens fast. It's kind of a faster um, process than if you go through an ego death or an actual awakening. Like, yeah, I've had an ego death before, and it was kind of a longer process, which taken like 5 years to just release everything. And you go through purgings during that too, and ascension. So it's purging and ascension. Um, and spiritual upgrades, downloads, and all of that. And it's so beautiful. But then in this process, it's more connected to the earth, and so it's more physical. You move your body, you move your, you can feel everything is sensual, everything is about your body, and so um, it is kind of beautiful, especially because I'm a woman, and it's so amazing to reconnect back to the earth and to my body. And so, yeah, that's my experience of it. And so sometimes it can be very hard because the creative energy can make us feel kind of ungrounded sometimes, but you're not alone. And there's a lot of people that are going through this, and I'm here, I'm also going through it. And so, if you need any help or to talk about it, don't hesitate to let me know. And so, I love you so much, and I hope that you have an amazing day and that you are enjoying your time. And so, have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video.